Hi everybody. In this video we're going to just take a look at the syllabus, hitting the highlights. I'm not going to go through and read it word for word. You can do that on your own. But there's a number of different assignments and I want to make sure you understand kind of the key things that we'll be working on and how they'll be evaluated. Okay, so let's get going. So here's the syllabus. At the top is my contact information, hands down, absolutely, positively, no doubt about it. Email is the best way to get hold of me. If you want to get in touch with me, shoot me an email. I'm constantly checking email. If you don't hear back from me, if you send me an email and you don't hear back from me for a day or two, send me another email. I get a lot of emails. I'm involved in a ton of different stuff, and I get a lot of emails every day. And once you fall off that top 50 in Gmail, it may be a few days before it rises back up to the surface. So I know some people don't like getting pestered. It doesn't bother me. So just shoot me another email if you don't hear from me. Okay, office hours are Mondays 5 to 7 on Zoom. If you want to meet outside of office hours, that's great. Just let me know and we can set up some time. I'm happy to meet with you. I love this stuff, so I'm always happy to talk about it. Don't hesitate to reach out to me if you've got questions. Okay, the kind of our course description here, the required textbook. Yes, it is required. There's material that you're going to have to answer on the quizzes based on the readings from the book. So make sure you do it. You get the book. The electronic versus paper version is up to you. I may reference some material based on the physical copy with a heading, a section, heading, subheading sort of thing, and a page number. That may not line up with electronic versions, so be aware of that. But I leave that up to you, kind of how you want to do it. But it does need to be this edition, or else there are things that were added that I talk about that aren't in earlier, and that we reference that aren't in earlier editions. So make sure you get that edition. The software, really, we absolutely use Brightspace all the time. You cannot do this course without working with Brightspace. So make sure you're comfortable and able to do that. You also need to be able to watch YouTube videos. I have lots of videos on YouTube that you need to be able to watch. And you'll be downloading and uploading files as well from Brightspace. So you need to be comfortable doing that. Consequently, check Brightspace very regularly, as you've seen if you watch or when you watch that video on how we're set up in Brightspace. I've structured it week by week by week by week in folders of what we're doing this week, what you need to be reading, what you need to be videos you need to be watching, what's due this week, what you can be working on that week. Lots of detail. I love detail. So make sure you're checking that every couple days at the most. At the most gap between them is maybe even more frequently. I'll be sending out, and when I post announcements in Brightspace, you should get them at your main.edu email. That's important because I may be sharing important information with you, and if you don't check your main.edu email, you're going to miss it. So make sure you're using your main edu, or if you don't check it that often, be certain that the stuff is getting forwarded to your account that you are checking. But you want to check that at least every day. Okay, your grade's based on 600 possible points with a 90, 80, 70, 60 sort of cutoffs. Here's the actual points you need for an A minus, B, whatever, kind of the minimum number that you need for those. There's a variety of different assignments that we have, and I kind of mix things up so that you don't get bored just doing the same thing. I want to get students engaged and pick up some skills along the way, as well as some knowledge. So we'll see in a minute. We have a variety of different assignments or work that we'll be doing. Everything is due on Friday of the corresponding week. As I've kind of in Brightspace, we have our week set up. Week 1, week 2, week 3. things are due for week 3, if there's something due that week, or week 2, if something is due, it's due the Friday of week 2 by 11:59 p.m. All of your work is submitted into Brightspace, so it's time stamped when you submit it. And if you submit it at 12:04 Saturday morning, it's already flagged as late. So be aware of that. Don't give yourself time in case the internet's down or your computer's got issues. You got plenty of time to turn stuff in, as you'll see on the syllabus. So don't wait until the last minute. Okay. As you're going to see as we go through this, your again, grades are based on 600 points. Here's the different activities that we're going to be doing. First, and this is due in 2 weeks, really, September 13th, is a review of the syllabus. You need to go through the syllabus, answer a couple questions. This is just my way of checking that you've read the syllabus so that you and I are on the same page of how things work, and also to check that you can access Brightspace. It's just kind of a quick way. If you're going to have trouble getting into Brightspace, let's know right away. So do that. Easy points. Read the syllabus. Do the syllabus review. That's pretty straightforward. Then there is a personal introduction that you need to do, also worth 10 points, and that's also due September 13th, so relatively soon. And this is just my way of getting students to interact with each other, as we're an asynchronous online class. It's possible in courses like this that you go the whole semester and never interact with anybody. And so I want to prevent that. I think a lot of the best stuff that comes out of this class is coming from interactions of students with students and that. So we start off by, you just need to do an introduction. And it kind of spells it out here. Just give your name, your program, what plans that you have post-graduation. It could be, I'm still thinking about it, is okay. And one fun fact about yourself. I'll share my fun fact about myself. I'm a giant Disney fan. Actually, look, my t-shirt right now is the Haunted Manor from Paris Disney, Disneyland Paris. You'll pick this up over the course of the semester. We're just kind of nutty that way. But then this does not count, as we're going to talk about in a minute. There's weekly discussion posts that we start in week 2, but this is different from that. Then we have quizzes. This is the bread and butter, meat and potatoes of your grade. 400 total points on these quizzes. There's 10 of them. They are open book. You can look at your book. You can look at the slides that I give you with the videos. You can rewatch the videos while you're doing it. So it's a lot of quizzes, a lot of points, but they're open book. So that hopefully helps a little bit, that you relax a little bit about that. And the best part about it, I think many students like, is you can retake the quizzes to improve your grades. I'm a big believer in mastery learning. So if you miss a bunch of questions the first time and you want to redo it, you can redo it. Now there is a small adjustment that, because there's a difference if you get 100% on the first submission or it takes you 3 submissions. So it's kind of spelled out here that there's the kind of the last question that you have is going to ask you basically which submission are you doing, and it's worth 8 points out of the 40 each. So if there's 10 quizzes in there, that's a total of 400 points. Each quiz is worth 40 points, and the last question's worth 8 of those 40 points. And it's just asking, is this your first submission? If it is, you get 8 points. If it's your second submission, and you say, this is my second submission, it's worth less, and it kind of goes down from there. It's kind of, you'll see it when we do it. But the key is that if the quiz is worth 40 points, and even if you take 3 or 4 or 5 submissions to get 100% on those other questions, the most you're going to learn, it loses 8 points. 8 out of the 100. So you can keep doing it. And even if it takes you those extra times, your score is going to be, if you end up with 100%, you're going to get the 40 points minus 8. So it'd be 32 points, which is 80%, or an A or a B minus. So you can always earn at least a B minus on a quiz if you just you put in the effort and you're persistent. All right? You can always get at least a B minus on every single one of those quizzes, no matter how many times you need to take it. But the key is give yourself time to see what you've missed. Go back, reread that material, rewatch that video, send me an email if you've got a question, come to my office hours if you've got a question. Maybe we meet one-on-one Zoom to discuss something if you've got a question. But that only works if you give yourself the time. Give yourself the time and take advantage of this. And you can do great. Okay, this leads to a natural question of, well, when I do a resubmission, what if I get more stuff wrong? Can my grade go down? Or what if I don't get anything right, but now I lose a couple points because it's a redo? Can my grade go down? And no, your grade can never go down. There's students who actually tell me even though they know, because I've got I only missed 2 points on the first time, I know if I do a redo, it's going to be lower than what I already have, but I want to do it anyway. I want to master the material. I want to see what I missed. I love it. That is freaking awesome when students do that. So that's great. And so there's no penalty for doing that. I can see when students do it, and it always just puts a smile on my face when I see, wow, someone is really getting into this. Great. You will get the highest of all your submissions. You get the highest score based on whichever one it was that you submitted. Now, factoring in, is it a redo 1, redo 2, whatever. Factoring that in, you always get the highest score. So there is absolutely no downside to redoing quizzes. No downside at all. Your score can't go down. You will get the highest score across all of them. Kind of describe some stuff here. You don't have to finish the quizzes on the first sitting. You can start it, come back later. Just save your answers. Don't submit your answers. There's 2 options when you're doing it. I kind of describe it here. Just save your work. Don't submit it. Then we have what are called short exercises. There's 10 of these, each worth 6 points or 60 total points. And this started, it's kind of interesting, this was inspired by students, because I used to have a couple big assignments. And then I talked to the students about it, and it's like, and brainstormed a little bit with students in the class, and decided, well, let's break this up into weekly bits. And these exercises are really, as part of the course, we're going to learn how to use some online search tools and databases and that. And we've ended up thinking is that it's better, you can do one big exercise and use the search tools, use the database, and then forget about it. You submit it, I'm done, I'm never going to touch that again. But that's not a good way to learn it. The best way to learn it is you do a little bit every week. So all semester long, or much of the semester, you're going to be spending a few minutes every week. These aren't big exercises. They don't take forever. They're not, we've just kind of broken up the work across these 10 exercises. So you keep coming back, fiddling with a little bit more, learning one more cool thing it can do, trying that out, learning something else kind of cool, trying that out. And that's the best way to really understand it, master it, and remember it. And so we tried that. Students loved it. I've done it since, and yeah, this is a great way. So this was kind of inspired by you guys, the students, to let's switch how we approach that. So it's, again, you may be thinking, holy cow, 10 quizzes, holy cow, 10 exercises. But again, these exercises are short, they're small. It's in place of kind of a typical big project or something that you do. So this just describes those a bit. Like I said, we're going to learn how to find articles online that you're interested in, how to get updates on articles or topics that you're interested in, how to become a master of some content area. So if you're interested in autism, and you work at a school, you can become the expert, the go-to person on what's the latest information on autism, on treating autism, effects for different programs on autism. We're going to learn how you can become that go-to expert on a topic that's important to you. Okay, let's keep going. We have weekly discussion forums, and this starts in week 2, not the first week, because we still have students adding, so we wait the first week we don't do it the first week. They're worth they're worth 5 points each week, and I do this as a way of getting the class to engage with each other. Again, like I said at the start, online asynchronous courses, you can go the whole semester, and I know from students I advise in that I'll hear about they take the course and they don't even engage with the professor, let alone another student. This way, every week you need to make 2, except week 1 again. Every week you make 2 posts in this discussion forum. It can be a new post where you're based on anything related to class. It could be based on, I read this, I found this fascinating. I watched that. Boy, that really kind of made me upset. My school is doing this. I saw on the news something about research that made me think, well, wait a second, is there a problem here? Or students sometimes will talk about like bad stats in the news. Someone will post, I saw this on the news. This is bad. This is a bad way of approaching this. I love it when they do that. And students you can post anything kind of related to class or the topics we're covering. You can post a new thing. You can reply to someone else's, replies to other people's posts. I'm going to start spitting in a second. Other people's posts. Too many P's. But I digress. The replies count as one of your 2 posts. You can reply twice and it counts as 2 posts that week. That's great. I want you to reply. I want that engagement. It's boring if it's just a list of everybody saying, oh, here's my impression of chapter 1, my impression of chapter 1, my impression of chapter 1. Yawn. No, I want you to talk to each other and engage each other and interact with each other. And like I said, we've had phenomenal discussions on all sorts of topics naturally emerge from the class, from you guys talking to each other about what's going on in the readings, what's going on in videos, what's going on in your schools or in the state. Great stuff. So that's the purpose of the discussion forums. The whole point is for you to engage. I'm not grading, did you say something right? I'm not grading kind of the quality of your writing, though it's always good to write well. No, I just want you to interact with each other is what it's looking at. They don't have to be long. In fact, don't write a big giant long thing because it still only counts as 1 post. You might think, well, but I put a lot of stuff in there. But remember, the purpose is to interact with each other. So 1 long post doesn't foster as much interaction as 2 smaller ones. So they don't have to be long, just a few sentences. It needs to be more than I agree or ditto. Ditto does not cut it, but it doesn't have to be long and elaborate. Okay, I got to talk a lot about this because this is a great part of the class. How this works with the grading, you'll see when you look at your grades, there's a column, there's the grades, there is the weekly discussion forum, and that will be a rolling total over the course of the semester. It'll start with 0, then it'll be 5 points, then it'll be 10 points the next week, then it'll be 15 points. It'll slowly roll up over the semester. And as you go in, if you check your grade, the feedback on it, you'll notice I'm in my feedback to you, I just keep track of which week it is and did you do your post or not, because it gets very confusing for me at times. This is actually a lot of work to do because I got to go in and I've got to look at each of you and see, not do you have 4 posts, but do you have, if it's the second time, not, do you have 4, but do you have 2 in the week period, not maybe, so I've got to kind of manually do stuff. So I make notes they're really just to say hi to you and say good job if you've done your post, I might note that I noticed you didn't do any posts that week, which is not pejorative, as we're going to see in a minute. That may be okay at times if you've got other stuff going on, but just a way of keeping track of the total. Okay. Social and behavioral research training, this or IRB training, this is worth 50 points. We're going to be learning about research methods and how to do good research and or what is good research. The kind of a great way of doing that is to go through the training that all researchers at the university have to go through. If I'm doing a research study, I have to go through this training. We're all going to go through the training. And we've got videos. I've got some guides in terms of how to access it and that. It takes an afternoon, so give yourself time. This takes time to do this. It's not a quick and simple thing. I kind of point out here, when you go to the website to do the training, there's a variety of different trainings. Make sure you do the right one. Every once in a while, a student will complete the wrong training. So make sure you do this social and behavioral research training, because then they have to do it over again. If you've already done this, maybe you're working with a professor on a project and you've already done the training, or maybe a different course you did the training. That's great. You already got 50 points. Just take the certificate you got at the end and upload it into Brightspace, where you'll see assignment 5, and we talk about, not assignment 5, the social behavioral research training. When you see this, the video for how we're set up in Brightspace shows you. You just upload that, 50 points, right? You do not have to redo it. As long as it's still current, you're set for that. I've got some guides and instructions on how to access that. And if you have trouble accessing it, let me know. Then we have my welcome to class bonus points, 20 points. Welcome to class. Everybody gets 20 bonus points to start the semester. Woohoo! You've already got, and these are bonus points. It's not out of the 600. They're extra on top of it, on top of that 600. Now you may ask, Craig, why are you giving everybody 20 bonus points when we haven't even started yet? What's the deal? Why are you being so generous? And the idea for this is that it helps me avoid situations of trying to decide, oh, I'm going to give you more time on an assignment. Oh, you missed a post. But something's happened. I'll let you do it late, but I'm not going to let you do it late. It helps me avoid all those things. Now, if let's say you're going to travel 1 week, 20 points lets you skip a couple weeks of discussion forum posts. You can miss several discussion forum posts right there, and still using these 20 points. You can miss doing the exercise, the weekly exercise. Maybe you've got a big project, whatever, and you don't want to spend time on this week's weekly exercise. You can skip that for whatever reason and use the 20 points for that. So think of these 20 points as a bank that you can draw on if you get sick, if you need to travel, if you've got a wedding, if you've got whatever you need to miss some work, you can these points will count towards it. Now, if you don't miss anything, you still get the points. That's great. If you submit every single thing and you don't, you still get 20 bonus points, which can help your grade. I mean, think of it. I pointed out here, 20 points. If each of the quizzes is worth 40 points, 20 points is the equivalent of taking half of your quizzes, half of them, and bumping them from a B to an A. So if you're nervous about the quizzes, save your 20 points, save the bonus points as basically a little offset. And half of your quizzes, you can take up an entire letter grade using these 20 points. So that's what they're there for. Policies. Do your assignments on your own. You're all grad students. You understand that. Please don't cheat. Nobody likes dealing with the honor council, especially us professors. Don't fall into the trap of submitting things at the last minute. like I've said, if you've taken or if you've looked over the syllabus or watched that video, there's a lot of time between when we finish material and when they're due. Well, we're watching the syllabus video now. So obviously you're watching the syllabus video. You'll see there's a big gap between when we finish material for something and when it's due. So don't wait till the last minute, because I've given you plenty of time. If you're submitting it at 11:50 on that Friday that it's due and your computer's down, my response, if you tell me that and ask, well, can I have a few more days? Because my response will be, that's why you should have submitted it the week before, so that you can also, then you can get feedback and redo it if it's a quiz that you need to. Turn stuff in on time. Give yourself plenty of time. Don't wait till the last minute. Like I said here, internet problems at home, campus network issues, your laptop stolen, you're on vacation, you're on a trip, you're on a wedding. They're not acceptable reasons. You should have submitted it. That's why I'm giving everybody more time. You should have submitted it sooner. Incompletes, I just want to point out that I follow the university policy. You can't get an incomplete just because you run out of time. I know some of my colleagues may do that and give you more time. We're very explicitly told, don't do that. The idea for an incomplete is you've been doing the course, something comes up in life, and you can't finish the course. And I'm completely sympathetic. Over the last few years, I've had a number of serious issues come up in my extended family life that have been distractions. So if that happens, then what you do is we have a conversation, we draw a line in the sand, and it's like, all of the work you've done to date still counts. You don't get a redo. Incompletes, again, policy, university rules. Incompletes aren't a redo on the whole semester. Everything you've done to date counts. We just give you more time to finish what's left. So if you wait till the last minute, if you wait till the end of the semester, incompletes are irrelevant, because everything already counts. You can't just redo it. So if something happens, if something seems like it may be happening or going to happen, talk to me. And then we can kind of work things out early ahead of time in anticipation. Maybe you'll need an incomplete or whatever. It just gives us more flexibility to work. Don't wait until the last minute, because no matter how valid your explanation is, there's nothing that can be done if you ask for an incomplete at the end of the semester. And I won't Zoom with you. Last point here. I won't Zoom with you if you're driving. I can't believe I have to actually say that, but it has happened where students have been driving, holding their cell phone, and trying to have a conversation in office hours. No, I will hang up on you. Other university policies, that here you can go to that link. And our schedule, as I kind of made a reference, here's our schedule every week. Week 1, so this is the start date. When I have the date, that's the start of the week. The way I work is Monday's the start of the week. And though the first is Tuesday, because the semester starts on September 3rd. What are the readings that week? And then what's due Friday of that week at 11:59 p.m. So you can kind of see here, I've got it all mapped out for you. So just follow that. And again, as I said, there's plenty of time. Well, let's look at one example. Quiz 1. Notice Quiz 1 covers chapters 1 through 4 and Appendix 2. And we finished that here in week 3. So we finished that around September 16th. But notice Quiz 1 isn't due until the Friday of the October 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's not due till Friday, October 11th. So you've got plenty of time between when you finish the material, right, up here, and when the quiz is actually due. That gives you, as soon as you finish the material, start the quiz. Do the quiz right away. And then again, that gives you plenty of time to do a redo, to ask me questions if you're stuck, to come to office hours if you need to rewatch, reread stuff. Take advantage of that. Don't wait. You got plenty of time. Okay? So that is everything for our course. And am I forgetting anything? I should point out, I should have pointed this out at the beginning. I apologize. That just to be clear, this course is an intro to research methods. We're going to learn what makes good research, what makes bad research. What are the proper conclusions people can draw from research? You'll see people do studies a certain way and then want to draw conclusions that you really can't do with that type of study. Ouch, that's a problem. Or you'll see people will do studies and overstate their findings in ways. We're gonna see the good, the bad, and the ugly of different research. I've personally been involved in a zillion different projects over the years. I'm a methodologist. I like dealing with data. I like analyzing data. I've gotten involved in projects from prenatal risk factors that put kids at risk for being born with a birth defect, to how do you build neighborhoods that promote physical activity and mental health in 90-year-old Cuban immigrants in East Little Havana. So we'll talk about some of these and some of the good, the bad, and the ugly that I've seen over the years of research. We're not going to cover this course so it's really to help you be an informed consumer, so you can become an expert in the literature. We're not going to cover how do you design. If you're working on a dissertation, this course does not talk about setting up your dissertation or your study. We're not going to talk on those level of details. There's other courses that do that. This is really our understanding of research and what makes good research, what makes bad research, how do you find research, how do you evaluate research, how do you interpret research, what are the proper interpretations of different types of studies. Okay, if you have questions, let me know, and I look forward to working with you this semester. Take care. Bye-bye.